Hey guys, and welcome to another brand new video. In this video, people are pretty upset right now when it comes to this brand new game that just got leaked as of today. Now, we're seeing a lot of big issues in the high level stuff of people basically complaining about always online games, having to have the chance to go and download a day one patch and having that connection required for your game itself, and the topic of game preservation, and the topic of basically people with bad internet, and then also in the topic too of why even buy physical games. We're also seeing now kind of outrages in terms of price points, in terms of things costing way too much money, and well, just everyone on the internet's all kind of freaking around out as of today due to the brand new Star Wars leak. Now, if you guys missed it, we're going to go show you guys the trailer too as well. There's a brand new Star Wars game that came out as of today in terms of like the trailer and the gameplay reveal and all of that. And it'll be coming out as of August 30th. But there's also like pre-order bonuses too. Like basically everyone is just upset about every little baby aspect about this as of today. So if you guys will sit back, relax, and enjoy, and I would love to hear your thoughts and comments on everything down below. Make sure you guys are subscribed as well. We have the Twitter and Twitch down below if you guys want to follow, and let's dive on into the video itself. So let's go and show you guys first and foremost the trailer up in the background in case you guys are going to be curious on this one. I'm going to have it just muted just because of DMCA, making sure the audio doesn't mess us on up. So there's been a few different things. I'm going to give you guys some of my hot takes on this as well, because if you guys want to go maybe put your eyes towards this, I have seen the trailer. This is kind of like somewhat of a separate quick issue, me kind of judging it. For some odd reason, this upcoming Star Wars game trailer looks very, very janky. Now, I do think a lot of this game looks cool. I will probably be checking this game out, but for whatever reason, these characters look and feel, and I can't really think of the best word to explain it, just basically look very much like they're in a video game. I don't know how to explain it. The animations don't seem smooth. The characters seem very, very video game-y, and I don't know what it's always been with Ubisoft. I like Ubisoft games. I love checking out Ubisoft games, but for whatever reason, I don't know, like their engine or something just always feels fake. It feels like I'm playing with I don't know, like dolls when it comes to their character models, facial recognitions, and everything else in between. Now, I do think the game looks good. I like the environment. As you guys can see, it looks very, very nice. That looks beautiful. These all look really cool, and I do have high hopes for the story. A brand new Star Wars IP is typically kind of fun in terms of the gaming sense. As I mentioned, some of the animations, like how they're talking, especially the facial stuff, has always been, I think, a big issue with Ubisoft, and it kind of seems like the frame rate and just everything with it does seem just off. I don't know, if you guys look at some of the characters, their faces, their facial recognitions, it kind of seems like they're always kind of awkwardly bubbling around. Now, this is just a little bit of a side tangent before the real topics of the video, but I just want to highlight this because people were also making comments on this one, and it does make me somewhat concerned about the game itself as a whole, because this also has some price points upwards of $180, and if everything doesn't feel smooth and flow well, in my mind, I kind of think of what's the point while we playing the game? What's the long-term goal of it? And even right here, you guys can kind of see how it just kind of look kind of shoddy and strange. If anything, maybe just kind of stare at the character poking up. It doesn't feel. It feels like janky. I don't know how to explain it. It just feels weird and everything on the trailer itself. I will probably still check out this game. I do like Star Wars IPs. It's pretty much around my birthday too as well. So at this point, I'm like, why not? We can creep on it, check it out. Why not? So I think this is nifty. I think this is nice. I will check out the game. But it doesn't mean that it doesn't have a lot of other very small issues when it comes to price point, when it comes to online, basically having to be online to actually download the game itself, game preservation, which we could dive into as of right this second whenever the trailer is all done. So first and foremost, right now the internet is going crazy in terms of online. Some games out there require 24/7 online, which is not usually the best case in all honesty. I've had a few games, say old school SimCity, and those games are always horrible. DRM and perpetual internet connections required is a pain and suffering, mainly because a lot of times you don't always have internet connections, and especially on single-player games, it just leads to issues. Now, I do believe this is only for the initial sign-in, basically when you have to do the initial first-day patch, but even then, people are curious on why am I buying the physical edition, because they do want to sell the physical edition of this game. Why do I want to get this if there's just going to be a massive day one patch? If I just have to do everything online digitally and update the game itself anyway, what's the point of doing physical? And although people do enjoy having the physical side, do not get me wrong, I enjoy game preservation, especially for single-player games. I enjoy having the single-player vibe, but at the end of the day, people are concerned because a lot of people are, number one, not wanting to pay the extra money, and two, are just kind of all over the place. So first and foremost, people are saying, hey, yo, what is Ubisoft smoking? $170 for the Star Wars Outlaws, the season pass, which there's a season pass for a single player game, which is kind of crazy for me. The Sabak Shark bundle, Rogue Infiltrator bundle, a digital art book, and then a 3-day early access with the pre-order. So people are curious. This obviously for the Canadian dollar itself, but it's still $130 for Americans, which is quite a bit. Now that is somewhat standardization for deluxe editions. We can't harp on it too much, but people are just all over the place. They're saying it's a lot of money, and you also get this random pre-order access, which I'm not usually the biggest fan of. Although, and also the same thing for Ubisoft, which is traditionally kind of known for lowering the price points of their game relatively quickly. Like we can see games like Ubisoft makes, and then usually like a few weeks later, sometimes even they're about half the price, and sometimes a few months later they're like on sale for like $15. So people, number one, don't like that because the pricing just all over the place. It's almost like a FOMO. You think the game seems cool, you have a 3-day early access, and like I like the game, I'll probably check it out, but I'm not sure if I want to spend $120-$130 on the game plus tax. That's kind of a lot, especially if you don't get anything cool like, collectibles or pre-order things, etc., etc. So I mean, overall, just for your initial impressions on the trailer, would you want to go buy the game itself? But it is coming out as of August 30th. But part two, that kind of leads into people, number one, both being kind of upset because it is a single-player game, and as well also questioning why people are upset too, which is the usual back and forth for the internet. Can someone explain to me why so many people are raging at Star Wars Outlaws needing an internet connection to be installed? You're using the internet to complain about it on Twitter, an app they use 25 hours a day, 8 days a week. It's 2024. Why is this a problem? Now, I do want to go and agree is that I do think it's like a weird balance. Like, it depends on the game. If it's a 24/7, always required DRM game, I hate that. I despise that. I do not want that in my games, and that leads into issues if your internet goes out for the day, especially for single player games. Like, focus on single player games. Online multiplayer stuff, I get it. But at the same time, too, I do agree. A lot of the times, everyone always has access to the internet. Not always, but traditionally. One more of the bigger issues, though, is sometimes in places with data caps. I even have a data cap here in Chicago. It's not the biggest deal, but it is out there and is still a pain. So, like, I get it. But also, once again, like, these are not the biggest groundbreaking issues. I care more about the game is good and, like, how big of day one patch is going to be. Because as of nowadays, like, there's always going to be changes. There's always been a crunch right before a game comes out. And people are upset about this, though, as well, on both sides. Some people are saying it shouldn't be even a requirement. Get, like, especially doing physical games, make the game a more proper, closer to release game. I don't mind having an internet update in the future, but some folks are also saying as well, what if it leads in issues 3, 5, 6, 7, 10 years down the road, and the internet's not even there for you to even launch the game, or update the game, or you have to reset your console for whatever reason, and that is actually a pretty valid concern. Let's go and say you buy the physical edition of the game, although it's maybe a niche issue over time, because internet's usually around, but let's go and say, like, for some odd reason, you don't have internet, I don't know, maybe the servers go shut down, Ubisoft stops supporting the game, and at a certain point, you may not even ever be able to download and play the game. Which, although this is a little bit more of a niche issue, that is something that people bring up in terms of game preservation and this weird, like, always requirement for online data centers types when it comes to downloading games. Now, I'm not the most offended on this one. Like, I'm online all the time. I'm in, like, Chicago. I'm probably going to have internet forever. This game doesn't seem like one of the craziest games known to man where I'm going to be dying to be playing it 9 years from now. And at the same time, when the game comes out, it will suck a little bit, but I'll probably be doing a digital download either way for my game experience. So it's not the biggest deal, but people are still complaining about it because people will obviously like to complain about everything. And as well, so we have price point issues, the pre-order bonus issues, which people are complaining about because you go and spend money and you get to enjoy the game a little bit quicker. This is also, once again, not the biggest issue, but these are all like just a lot of little small compounding things, kind of like for the Dragon's Dogma thing that a lot of people just get upset about over time. So I want to hear your thoughts on this because I don't think it's the biggest deal, but it is a collection of a lot of bigger deals as well. Like, the game doesn't seem insanely good based on the gameplay trailer. It also has this internet connection issue, which people on the game preservation side or have data caps and all that are complaining about. And then as well, then we also have people like just on the price point and just everything else. Like, just people are just not the biggest fan of it at the end of the day. Plus, also Ubisoft really does need to update their engine and make their games a little bit nicer. So there's a bit of a risk to go run the game. So I want to hear your thoughts because people have been complaining about this. We're seeing articles are talking about it, and just that big internet required to install the game does make people concerned. Once again, though, unless you're like in the middle of nowhere on a farm doing Starlink or using your phone data, I mean, I get that. I completely get that. I understand. But at the same time, people are saying you just have to be connected online when booting the Star Wars Outlaws for the very first time. Though people are also concerned, though, in the long term, of like, what if it's a consistent, always required internet too as well? I don't think that's the case for this one, but that leads to maybe potentially bad precedences, and people are kind of scared about this too because you have these really big day one patches. I'd rather have the day one patch, make the game run better. I know it's a little hard to go and kind of crunch down at the end of the day, but people are upset about this stuff. I'm a little bit on the laid back side, so let me know your thoughts and comments on everything down below. Make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on. We got that Twitter and Twitch stream as well. I appreciate y'all for watching in the first place.